My name is Carolyn Whitman, and for a long time, I truly believed I was living inside a fairy tale I didn't deserve. I was 38, a published author with a brownstone apartment in Manhattan, the kind of place people say they'll have one day, but almost never do. And I lived there with my husband, Mark Whitman, the man who, for years, had the world believing he was the kind of husband women prayed for. He had this voice warm, low, soothing, the kind that could melt away tension the moment he spoke. Every morning began with the same ritual, Mark bringing me coffee, whispering, "Good morning, sweetheart," and kissing my forehead as if he were blessing me into the day. Every night ended with him curling behind me and murmuring that I was his world. I believed him. God, I believed him with everything in me. But fairy tales have a way of shattering in the middle of the night, and mine broke on a Tuesday. It was close to midnight when I woke up to an empty bed. Not unusual at first. Mark sometimes wandered downstairs if he couldn't sleep. I rolled over, ready to drift back to sleep, when I heard his voice, low, serious, calculated. It was coming from his home office. "She still doesn't suspect anything," he said. I froze. My breath disappeared. It was like the air thickened around me. Then he continued, "Everything's going as planned." Almost done. Almost done what? A chill shot down my spine. I slipped out of bed and padded silently into the hallway, pressing myself against the wall. The office door was cracked just enough for a thin line of light to spill into the hall. I couldn't hear everything he said after that, but I didn't need to. I crawled back into bed, forcing myself to lie still, pretending to sleep when he returned minutes later. He slipped under the blanket like nothing had happened, draping an arm over me, breathing slow and steady like a man without a single secret. But I lay awake until the sun rose, staring at the ceiling, feeling the first fracture of a world I thought was safe. The next morning, I moved through the kitchen like a ghost. My hands trembled as I stood in front of the coffee maker. Mark was still asleep upstairs, and in that moment, a thought crossed my mind, one I had never once acted on in our entire marriage. I reached for my phone and opened our banking app. My heart nearly stopped. Transaction after transaction flashed across the screen. Hundreds, thousands. Small enough individually to escape attention, but together, a pattern. A secret, and one he was hiding from me. My throat tightened. I gripped the counter to stay upright. I didn't even hear him walk in until he spoke behind me. "Checking the account this early?" he asked. His tone was casual, but his eyes, oh, those eyes, they flickered. Just for a second. Surprise. Maybe fear. Maybe both. Just curious, I managed to say. "Some of these charges look unfamiliar." He poured himself coffee, smiling like he practiced that expression in the mirror. "Oh, those? Just a few small investments?" Forgot to mention them. He didn't look at me when he said it, and something cold and sharp settled inside me. Not anger. Not yet, but clarity. That night, he spent more time on his phone than usual. Always turning the screen down, always stepping out of the room to take calls. When I asked what he was working on, he brushed it off. "Just business. You don't need to worry about it." But I did worry, and worry turned into strategy. 2 days later, I got my chance. It was evening. He had just inhaled dinner and gone upstairs for a shower. Normally, he carried his phone around like it was a limb he couldn't survive without. But tonight, miraculously, he left it on the dining table. My heartbeat pulsed in my ears. 30 seconds. 60. The water was running. I reached for it. It was unlocked. My hands shook as I scrolled through the messages.
Harmless work chats, reminders, but then I saw it. A thread with no contact name.
Just a number. I opened it. "Send her the Ilium files. Just make sure she stays in the dark." Almost done. My stomach twisted. My blood ran cold. Who was her? Was it me? What were the Ilium files? Why did I need to be kept in the dark? I placed the phone back exactly the way he left it, wiped my hands on my jeans, and splashed cold water on my face until the reflection staring back at me looked calm. But inside I was falling apart. That night, when he slipped into bed and kissed my forehead, asking softly, "You okay?" I nodded, "Just tired," I whispered. But inside I was screaming. The next morning, the moment he left for work, I called the only person I trusted, Anna Prescott. My best friend from college. a brilliant estate attorney with a mind like a steel trap. When she picked up, I didn't waste a second. I told her everything, the whispers, the transactions, the mysterious message, the Ilium files. And when I finally admitted the truth I had been avoiding, that our total assets were close to $500 million, she didn't gasp, didn't hesitate. Carolyn, she said, we have to move your assets. Now, before he does something you can't undo. I felt my knees weaken. I sat on the couch. Are you sure? I whispered. Yes, she said. If you wait, you'll lose everything. We're going to build a trust in your name. Legally protected, he won't be able to touch a cent. My entire world tilted. Okay, I whispered. The next 72 hours felt like living inside a hurricane. Documents, signatures, lawyers, deadlines. Anna worked like she was powered by electricity, coordinating her team, shifting titles, transferring accounts, creating a fortress around everything I owned. And when Mark came home on the third evening, holding takeout and smiling like the man I used to love,
He had no idea that the ground beneath him had already cracked.
4 days later, the storm broke. He came home early, wearing a perfectly tailored suit. Calm, too calm. He sat across from me at the dining table and slid a folder toward me. We need to talk, he said. I opened it. Divorce papers. His voice was smooth, almost rehearsed. It's for the best. We've grown apart. I don't want things to get painful. I stared at him, expression blank. Really? I asked. He hesitated. A small crack in his perfect performance. Then he nodded. Yes, it's better this way. I slid the folder back toward him. Before we go any further, I said quietly, there's something you should know. His eyes narrowed. What? I've already moved everything. He blinked, hard. What? The apartment. My royalties, the accounts, all of it. It's in a protected trust now. You can't touch anything. The color drained from his face. You can't do that, he snapped. I already did, I said softly. You don't get to hand me divorce papers and walk away with half my life. For the first time, I truly saw him, not as my husband, but as a man caught in his own trap. We'll see each other in court, he said, voice cold as ice. Then go ahead, I whispered. Try, he stormed out. And for the first time in weeks, I exhaled. But the nightmare wasn't over. 3 days later, at work, I felt the shift. Whispers, side glances, people avoiding my eyes. Until my assistant Rachel walked into my office, pale, holding a printout. You need to see this, she said. It was a screenshot of an anonymous forum post. CFO hides funds during divorce using company money. Below it, someone commented, I know who it is, Carolyn Whitman. My world swayed. My lungs seized. He wasn't just trying to take my money. He was trying to destroy my name. I called Anna. That evening, we sat across from each other in her office, her eyes sharp with anger. He's trying to pressure you into a settlement, she said. He wants to scare you. I met her gaze. I'm not backing down, she nodded. Then we fight. Cease and desist first. If he pushes harder, we sue for defamation. But Mark wasn't done. 3 days later, Anna called me in again. Her tone was grim. He just filed a lawsuit, she said. He's accusing you of financial fraud. My heart dropped. What? He claims you illegally moved marital assets. And he's filed with a co-plaintiff. She slid a file across the desk. The name on the page hit me like a punch. Elamero, the name from the mysterious text. A known fraudster, connected to forged documents. Not yet convicted but notorious. Inside the file were fabricated transaction logs, fake wire transfers, dates that didn't match. Even a signature that was supposed to be mine, sloppy but dangerous. These aren't mine, I said, voice shaking. We know, Anna said. Now let's prove it. For the next week, her team worked non-stop. Forensic accountants? Cyber experts, lawyers, we traced every step of Mark's deception, and piece by piece, his lies collapsed. A month later, we walked into court. I wore navy, my shoulders were back. My hands were steady. Mark, across the room, looked nothing like the man I once loved. His skin was pale, his eyes hollow, his confidence gone. The hearing was short, brutal, precise. The judge reviewed the evidence. Alamero never even showed up. Our documents were airtight. The ruling came fast. Case dismissed. Mark denied access to the trust. He was ordered to pay my legal fees. When we stepped into the hallway, he tried to approach me. "You didn't have to do this," he said. I looked him straight in the eyes. "No, Mark, you didn't have to do this." Then I walked away. For the last time. In the weeks that followed, I rebuilt my life, not loudly, not with celebration, but quietly, patiently. I returned to writing. Took long walks in Central Park. Let silence fill the spaces where fear used to live. And I learned something I want every woman listening to hear. Trust is a gift, but control over your life is a right. Never hand over your power blindly. Never assume love means safety. And if someone ever tries to bury you with betrayal, stand. Stand tall. Stand loud. Stand unbreakable, because the truth has a way of rising. And sometimes surviving the storm isn't the victory. Sometimes the victory is learning how to own the sky afterward. If you're still here, thank you for listening. And if my story touched something and you share it, comment. Let someone else know they're not alone. Strength isn't revenge. Strength is choosing yourself.